how to make money buying tax lien certificates. So welcome back. Now in this episode, I'm going to answer the question, how to make money buying tax lien certificates. So kind of open up your mind. This is kind of a new business for a lot of people, but it always works. And I've been doing this for the last 25 years, not only teaching it and guiding people, but I do it myself. So I like to buy tax defaulted properties because I make bigger profits, but some people prefer the tax lien certificate because it's predictable, it's certain, and it's secure. Investors love these certificates. Okay, now everyone likes to make money, especially if you can get checks from the government. So this is an investment where you don't invest with Ted or a broker or a company. You're going to invest directly with the county, and you're going to get a check back from the county. And what's really going on is counties are sending notices of default to people who don't pay their tax, and when they don't, they're going to allow you and I to pay those taxes. So if we pay someone's taxes, they're going to give us a tax lien certificate. Now, for the past 25 years, I've been doing this. It sounds simple, but the first time you hear about it, it sounds a little bit unbelievable. But about half of the counties in the United States sell tax lien certificates, and they do that because property owners have defaulted, and they're sort of giving the people a second chance. And I'll go into those details in just a minute. So many people call me America's tax lien certificate and tax defaulted property authority. And you'll kind of see why as you go along and you're watching on this channel. Now, I started out as an investor just like you, and then I became a coach and a guide and a teacher, and now I've been teaching people how to do it for many years, and people can make a lot of money on tax lien certificates and tax defaulted property. So just kind of open up your mind and learn about this, and you're going to see it really works. All right, now the interest rates on tax certificates are not like the bank where the bank goes up and down and so on. When you buy a tax certificate, you'll know exactly how much you're going to make. So they pay outrageous interest rates. So depending upon the state where you buy, you could earn 16, 18, 24, 36%. I've named all the states, but you're kind of getting the idea. You can earn a lot of money. Now, I'm standing here in Florida in a small studio, and in Florida, these certificates pay up to 18%. Now, where do you find out about the certificates? They're advertised in the newspaper. They're also on the county website. What's going on? It means people have not paid their tax. So in the United States, we have 3,000 counties. About half of those counties will sell tax lien certificates. And when they do, they advertise it in the newspaper, and they put it on their website. And what's really going on is the people haven't paid their property tax. So the local government has already authorized the treasurer to, number one, levy a tax, and to collect a tax. They haven't been able to collect it, so they issue a tax lien certificate. Now, a lot of good things happen then. First of all, tax lien certificate helps everybody. It helps the community because you and I can give the community money to buy the certificate. So now the local government can pay the county employees, can pay the police department, so on. All right. The property owner who's in default, we don't know whether they're sick or whether they lost their job or what happened, but they didn't pay the tax. We leave the property owner there. They're not evicted. They stay in the property. So there's no foreclosure taking place temporarily. All right. Now, when we buy the certificate, we're going to earn these generous rates of return. So everybody in the loop makes money. Now, if the property owner doesn't pay, ultimately come in and pay the taxes and buy back the tax certificate, then you're going to make a generous rate of return if they do of 16, 18, 24. If they don't pay, you're going to get the property without a mortgage. So think about that. These people are going to pay you. According to local governments, 95, 97% of these people will pay their taxes, okay? So you don't want to get involved in the mistakes in this business, so I'll tell you about those at the very end of this video, and I'll tell you about 2 mistakes that people make at these tax auctions. But right now, I want to remind you that when I finish, below me there'll be a gift. It's a free gift. It's a gift from me to you, and it'll teach you the profits of tax liens. It's a little mini course, and it'll do the same thing with tax deeds, show you how to make the big profits. But it's below me. It's my free gift to you for right now, and I'll be right back. Okay, how to make money buying tax lien certificates. Now, these certificates are issued by local governments, in other words, the county government. Now, there's 3,000 of those local, a little more than 3,000 local county governments. About half of those counties will issue tax lien certificates. All right, that simply means someone didn't pay their tax. If you want to pay their tax, you can do that, and you'll pay your money directly to the county. Every state is mandated to collect taxes, whether they do it with tax liens or whether they do it with tax auctions. I'm not going to cover tax deeds on this video. I'm just going to talk about how to make money on tax lien certificate. All right, now I didn't make the rules. The legislature of the state makes the rules, tells the county what to do, then the county treasurer levies the tax, tries to collect it. If they can't collect it, what they'll do in the tax lien states is they'll issue a tax lien. You and I can buy one. Some are $50, some are $500, some are 100,000. So there's all sizes and shapes of these tax certificates, and you'll earn the amount of money that's on your certificate. All right, so 18% is the highest in Florida. Most you can do in Iowa is 24. Illinois goes all the way up to 36%. It's a bidding process, and I'll get to that. All right, so how to make money with tax lien certificates. Well, first of all, you have to know about the sales. So you learn about them on the website, and you can also learn about those in the newspaper. Once you know that, you need to get the auction rules. The auction rules are a must. If you don't know the rules, don't do any bidding. All right, when you buy a certificate, you don't give money to me. You give money directly to the county. Now, what you did is you paid someone else's taxes. Now, that someone else is going to be given a time. It might be a year. It might be 2 years. It might only be 6 months. But they're given a time where they have to pay the tax. So they let them stay in the property. You do not get possession. You do not get possession. Keep that in the back of your mind. All right, now the property owner stays there. They can live in the property, but hopefully they're recovering from a sickness and that's why they didn't pay, or they lost their job and they're going to get another job. But if they don't pay, you will ultimately get the property without a mortgage. Now they take the mortgage and it's wiped off. It's just wiped off the property at the county records. They just take the mortgage right off. Now, the people that have the mortgage, they still owe it, but it's off the property. You're going to get the property without a mortgage. Wouldn't that be a great deal? All right, so I didn't make those rules. The legislature did that. Then they have the county do all the enforcement and the execution of that. Now, the Board of Commissioners isn't who you're going to go to complain to. You're going to have to go to complain to the tax guy, because the tax guy are the ones that do everything at these auctions. So all auctions are controlled by the treasurer. So their treasurer will write rules, and you can buy them online or offline. Now, this is a business you can sit on your rusty dusty, and you can make money. Now, with a tax lien certificate, if you buy one today and it pays you, you can reinvest in another one. And when that pays you, you can keep rolling that money over. And if you did it in an IRA account, you wouldn't have to pay taxes. So you want to learn about those IRA accounts so you don't have to pay taxes. Otherwise, the interest that you're earning, you will have to pay taxes. All right, so the county treasurer is the one that does all the work. They have power. They have power to run the auction. They can change prices at the auction. They can levy tax, collect tax. If they don't collect tax, they can actually confiscate the property. All right, so you're getting the idea. Now, what's happening with all this money? When you pay the government, what happens to that money? The money goes to the local treasurer. Then what the treasurer does is divides it up, pays some to pay the police officers, some to pay the firefighters, some to pay the county employees. You're getting the idea. Some to fix the roads, some to take care of the schools. All the county's bills are paid for with property tax. So if the county cannot collect, they're going to seize the property. All right, but we're talking about tax lien certificates, how to make money with those. How you make your money is you invest with the government, you're going to get a check back. The county more than likely will tell you, if you'll ask, how much money you're going to make. You're going to make the amount of the certificate, and there's a 95% chance you'll get paid. Could be even as high as 97%. If you don't get paid, not to worry. You're going to get the property, and you're going to get it without a mortgage. So I hope you're getting the idea of what's going on here. All right, now, the tax lien states are not all. So Florida's like a tax lien state, okay? But you could go in the state of Georgia, they don't sell tax liens. They actually sell deeds in the state of Florida. Now, deed means the property is leaving the property owner's hand and going into someone else's hand. So that's a transfer, isn't it? So the transfer takes place in those states. All right, so half of the states sell tax lien certificates. The other half of the states are going to sell a tax deed. All right, so I'm just about to button this up right now. Understand that the property owner will not leave the property. They will stay on the property until the certificate expires or until they pay you. Once they pay you, you have no more rights in the property. So I'm just about finished up on tax liens and how to make money. I'm going to do 2 questions before I finish.
Ted, what is the process to get a deed if the homeowner does not redeem a tax lien certificate?
Okay, so what is the process to get the deed to the property? Well, it's probably going to be mostly automatic, but let's say you have to do a little work. So the little work would be this. You didn't get paid, So you'd notify the county you didn't get paid. So then the county will do the rest of the work. They'll tell you, all right, we're going to have to do a foreclosure. Now, some counties might let you do the foreclosure. What they're going to do is just do a formal foreclosure and take the property away from them. And that's simply done with direct mail. They send direct mail to the client and say, look, you have to leave the property. You've lost your right of ownership. In the United States, everyone is allowed to own property. It's a privilege. And that means you could sell the property if you want. That means you could subdivide if you want. You could put crops on it if you want. You could build a house on it. You can do anything you want with it. However, you've got to pay property tax. And these people all know that because whenever they get in default, they send them a note and tell them the consequences. If you don't pay, you're going to lose the property. So to get the property will be a foreclosure process. I don't have time to cover it on this particular video.
If I bought a tax deed or tax lien on vacant land, what could I do with it?
If you bought a tax deed on vacant land, what could you do with it? Well, I would tell you if you bought one, know what the value was. So if the value was $25,000 and you bought it for $1,000, what do I have to say? You've got plenty of margin for profit. So if me and I bought it for $1,000, it was worth $25,000, I would sell it for $10,000 or $12,000 immediately because other buyers that are looking, they'd see all that extra margin that you're willing to give away. So I like to buy them low and sell them low, and so that's very important to me. I like to buy residential lots at auctions because there's not a lot of bidders. Folks, there's a couple of things you want to be careful of, and there's two mistakes that people make at these auctions, and the two mistakes can cost you a lot of money. So mistake number one is don't buy any property that you haven't looked at. Now, why do I tell people don't buy a property? What if it was next to a chicken barn that had terrible smell? You wouldn't want that property. What if it was next to a railroad? You might not want to own that property. What if there was a fire? Oh my goodness, could burn the property down. So when you buy at the auction, you're buying as is. So if there was a tornado last week and it wiped it out, you're going to have a damaged property. So you need to look at it relatively close to the auction. All right, second big mistake people make is they get involved in the auction and they're so excited about getting a property, they're just going to buy something and they keep bidding and bidding until they get something. Folks, the object of the auction is not, the objective is to buy a property that has plenty of margin. So you don't want to buy a property unless you already know what that margin is. In other words, you've got an exit strategy. The exit strategy is just as important as purchasing the property. So don't buy a property unless you've looked at it and you've already planned your exit strategy because you may pay too much and then you're in trouble. Now below me is a free gift. It's absolutely free. It's called a Safe Haven. You want to learn about tax lien certificates, all the secrets are there. If you'd like to learn about tax defaulted property, you can learn the big profits that are made there. That's a free gift from Ted Thomas. I'll see you in the next video.